Fragrances every man must own in his collection. I asked you guys on Instagram if you had to give one fragrance that you think every man must have in his collection, what would it be? I have 10 submissions from you guys today that I'm going to go through and see if I agree or disagree. Now, I'm never going to say that somebody has to have a fragrance in their collection. Of course, we're all unique snowflakes and special in our own way. However, I do kind of agree with this concept that there are some foundational scents that are just solid picks that most men will appreciate having in their collection. Even myself as a reviewer, I'm pretty much wearing a new fragrance every single day. I don't really have a choice in that matter. I still have some of these as my solid foundations I'm really happy to have in my collection. I'll always go to, even when I have hundreds of fragrances in my possession. So let's see if you guys agree or disagree with these submissions today. Let's begin. Versace Eros. Now, I don't think you have to have this in your collection. If I wasn't a reviewer, I'd kick this out very quickly. However, I do feel like every beginner should try this scent. It's very pleasant, it's just boring at the same time. It's clean, almost fuzzy, apple, mint, and vanilla. And it just becomes very boring on the dry down. Pure vanilla, loud, fun, casual, youthful. I feel like teenagers, maybe this is a must-have for teenagers in their collection, but I think if you're a little bit older, if your taste becomes a little bit more refined, Versace Eros ends up being a very redundant scent in my opinion. Not a bad DNA overall, but I think there are better alternatives in today's world. This is a 2012 release, guys, bear that in mind. I would say fragrances like Azara's The Most Wanted or Le Male Elixir would replace something like Eros nowadays. Or actually Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Intense or Uomo Coral Fantasy also would replace this in my opinion. Prada L'Homme. Again, another one I don't actually like that much either. I don't want this in my collection either, but I feel like, again, everyone should try this so they appreciate the style of soapy, clean, powdery iris perfumery. I feel like people will say this is a must-have because it just got so popular through Jeremy.
I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10, which is one of the highest ratings I've ever given a fragrance.
I feel like if Jeremy back in the day really liked a fragrance, then everyone just bought it. I don't think this is foundational. I think this is actually quite a polarizing scent. I feel like Prada L'Homme is a fragrance collector's sort of later on journey kind of fragrance. It's not a beginner scent in my opinion, even though a lot of people would disagree with me. But I just don't think Iris is a very safe option. Things like Hugo Boss Bottled is safe. Things like Versace Eros is safe. Bleu de Chanel is safe. Acqua di Gio. I would say Prada L'Homme is, it's Iris. Iris is a note that you kind of explore a little bit later on. I don't like this clean iris scent here, particularly with Prada L'Homme. I think it's high quality. I can see why people do like it, but I like things like the Dior Original or the original Valentino Uomo. I feel like they're not as clean as this scent, but if you want a daytime iris fragrance, these are the kind of fragrances you can go for instead. Or even something like Givenchy Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense. 32% of people who watch School of Scent are subscribed to us. If you guys want to see our channel grow, to really help us out, click subscribe. Let's get that number to 40%. Thank you. Jean-Paul Gaultier's Ultra Male. Pear, bubblegum, sweet, intensely sweet vanillic perfumery. That's very one-directional. If you want sweetness, if you want diabetes in a bottle, this is the fragrance that'll do it for you. Again, similar to Eros, I feel like it's quite young, youthful. You enjoy it as a teenager, but I feel like you will outgrow this, or your taste will just leave this behind. You'll go into more refined perfumes, in my opinion. It's not a bad scent, but I think if you're more mature, in the Le Male line, go for something like Le Male Parfum, or if you want a clubbing scent, go for Le Male Elixir. I think that's still more modern and more relevant nowadays. But I think actually, just invest in something like a 10 ml of Aaron Terence Hughes Hard Candy or Hard Candy Elixir. It has a similar scent family, let's say, but Hard Candy, the original, is more versatile, and Hard Candy Elixir is just better blended. I think it's a better alternative if you want that really intense sweetness, but with better ingredients. Armani Code Parfum. Now, okay, actually fair play. I agree with this submission. I feel like it's just a solid scent and a solid DNA that's been relevant for over 20 years. And out of all the Armani Code flankers nowadays, the Parfum probably is the most relevant. It's high quality, it's long lasting, it adds a nice modern touch with that little bit of powdery iris thrown in there, but it's clean, smooth, creamy, tonka aromatic perfumery here. It smells gentlemanly. It's simple, easy to appreciate mainstream perfumery, but it still has that elegance, that touch of refinement. touch of maturity in here. I don't think this scent ever gets boring because it's just so smoothly blended, so nice. It's such a classy DNA. It lasts around 8 to 10 hours with a soft to medium projection. So I think this is actually a very solid pick for pretty much any man's collection. Any blue fragrance? Yeah, I agree with the submission. Pretty much everyone's gonna have a blue scent in their collection. Nowadays, for me, I would say if you want a deep, warm, ambery kind of blue scent, you go for something like Bleu de Chanel. Either the Eau de Parfum or the Parfum are my recommended concentrations. If you want something a bit more bright, fresh, youthful, sporty, right now I would say that throne goes to Loewe 7 Cobalt. That's my #1 recommendation for that kind of blue style. So I would ignore things like Dylan Blue or YSL's Y and go for this instead. It's natural, sexy, playful, has a better blend, and it's got a solid performance for around 6 to 8 hours. And for how this is a lot less synthetic compared to those other sporty fresh scents or those other youthful scents, this is the #1 winner to me, in my opinion. Blue fragrances are just super versatile, easy done reaches that work for any man, so I agree, pretty much everyone should have at least one in their collection. Terre de Hermès. I think if you're a mature man, yeah, maybe actually this is a must-have. I feel like if you want to smell like a gentleman, refined, you want to experience the best in perfumery, Jean-Claude Ellena is one of the greats, the all greats of the perfume industry, and you need to experience his work. And this is probably one of his most famous, probably going to be a Hall of Fame fragrance forever now. It's got such a fantastic, interesting, clever blend. It smells distinct, masculine, sharp, woody, earthy, orange, professional. It's so creative. There's nothing really else like this out there. I think it's going to just stand the test of time as just a natural all-time great. It lasts a really long time, this old bottle I have here, but I think the Eau de Toilette's been reformulated. So if you want more performance, go for the Parfum. I also think that's a fantastic flanker. It's a little bit more dense, a little bit more ambered out, but it has a similar idea to the Eau de Toilette. Dior Homme Intense. I give this a 10 out of 10, although subjectively it's not my style. Again, with Iris, it can be hit or miss depending on the individual, so it might not be a must-have, but I do think Dior Homme Intense is a must-try. This is a really great blend as well. Dark, romantic, smooth, powdery iris in here. Has sort of a cacao nuance to it. It smells like elegance. It smells so different to any other evening scent out there. Although there are other evening iris perfumes out there, I don't think they have anything on Dior Homme Intense. This is sort of like the originator of that style. Maybe Prada Homme Intense is probably my favorite, but I still think this is actually even more masterful than Prada Homme Intense, even though I prefer that fragrance. I do think this is a work of art that needs to be appreciated. You definitely need to try this at the very least. Now we're going sort of towards the niche realm of perfumes, so it can be controversial to say this is a must-have for these kind of price tags. Tom Ford's Ombré Leather. I will emphasize, I do think this should be considered as a niche scent because only a select few of people will enjoy this, and that's the actual definition of niche. It's not what you think it is. It's not if a brand only makes fragrances that can makes them niche. That's just not the definition. People need to look this up and realize that's just not how fragrances that are niche are classified. But anyways, regardless, Ombré Leather I think everyone must try, but not necessarily must own. It's a polarizing scent depending on how much you like leather, but I like the fact this is realistic leather. They've smoothed it out with other supporting notes in here, with some ambers, some citruses, some florals in here. That kind of makes this really soft and inviting new interior black leather car, essentially. I think it smells super sexy. I think it grows on you over time. So definitely try it. Maybe get a sample. Everyone must own a sample of this at the very least, maybe, and just give it several wearings and see if you enjoy leather perfumery, see if this grows on you. Tom Ford's Oud Wood, or Thameen's carved oud, that DNA essentially. Now actually, although this is very expensive and Tom Ford in general is getting super expensive, I would say this is a must own, as long as you don't absolutely despise it. I mean, I think most people will love this. It's one of their most popular scents for a reason. Go try it, and if you like it, I think get this DNA in some form, either in the original Tom Ford form or with carved oud. This is such a sexy signature DNA that introduces you to an oud style. I don't think Oud Wood has real oud in it, but it gives you that cool, sharp, woody, almost forest pine-like style with a sexy masculinity in here that cuts through the noise and makes you stand out. And that's what makes this such a cool DNA. It makes you unique. It has a really beautiful, soft, musky, almost ambered out, dry down, multifaceted. I think this is a masterpiece and it will stand the test of time. So yes, I think for most guys, this is a must own. And lastly, Xerjoff Naxos. Now, even though Naxos is not a fragrance that I actually reach for that often myself, well, as I said earlier in the video, I don't get to try my own fragrances anymore. I'm pretty much always wearing a new scent, but Naxos, I feel even if you don't wear it practically, I feel like it's worth having as a serious perfume collector. And I feel like if you're going into niche, you go into this price tag, you definitely must try Naxos. It's one of the most elegant, beautiful, effervescent, amber, tobacco, honey, lavender scents that's beautifully balanced and beautifully blended. It smells like luxury, like royalty. It's a great way to introduce yourself into one of the best niche brands in general. Xerjoff is fantastic as a brand. And I feel like it's just worth having on your shelf, in your collection, in order to re-experience the mastery, the perfumery here that is present, just so you are always inspired in your fragrance journey. I feel like this is one of the all-time greats, and it's definitely worth having a beautiful, elegant evening fragrance. That concludes this video, guys. What are your thoughts on this concept of fragrances being a must-have? Do you agree or disagree with that? It might be controversial. Maybe people just don't need to must-have or must-own anything, but I'd love to hear your opinion, guys. Do you agree with the 10 submissions from Instagram today? Are there any that you disagree with? Are there any that you would add? Let us know in the comments down below, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our previous video on must-own fragrances for men. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.